Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckles Show, where we take a bite out of movies. Like, literally. The problem is today there is not going to be much biting involved because Bill and we can't meet in person because of the corona lockdown in Austria, which is why we have to do a special episode at the moment. But given that tomorrow is going to be the 2nd of Advent, we think that this is a perfect time to relax and talk about Christmas. And this, today, in this special episode, and I swear the Kevin Home Alone franchise is going to start next Saturday, but this is our top 10 or top 5 per person Christmas list. Knuckles, would you start?
I will. So, hello. And the first one, The Last Samurai. I loved that movie. It was epic. It's a great storyline. Hans Zimmer, superb. Like, the guy should have a Christmas album. I think it will be a timeless classic. Also, the movie makes you realize that traditions are important and the roles that the samurai had to play in the Japanese philosophy is brilliant. Just brilliant. And the scene that I loved the most was when Katsumoto was about to die and he finally saw the cherry blossom plant blossom. It was an amazing, amazing scene. So that's my fifth best Christmas movie.
Okay, I'm going to start. I actually have to say, I'm starting off with a cheat because we have our top 5 Christmas movies, but the first thing that I'm going to include is an episode from a TV series, but I count it as a short film because it's an episode of the awesome Tales from the Crypt. And this is the second episode of the first season. It's called All Through the House. And it's basically a slasher movie story where a woman is trapped inside of her own house, but an estranged killer is trying to hunt her down, trying to chop her up with his axe, and he is dressed up as Santa Claus. And this is an intense thriller, actually, that was on the index of bad movies in Germany. So movies that are too violent. This was basically banned in Germany for quite some time, actually. And it does feature a little bit of gore, but the thing is that I want to say with the Tales from the Crypt series, for all the people who do not know about it, is the producers are Richard Donner, Walter Hill, Joel Silver, and Robert Zemeckis. So this is an all-star episode, and in this special episode, All Through the House, we have a script by Fred Decker, who made the awesome Monster Squad movie, and Robert Zemeckis of freaking Back to the Future fame directed this episode. So this is intense, gory, thrilling, and all of that in 20 minutes.
Interesting. Interesting is all I'm going to say. So my fourth, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Normally I don't watch comic movies, but this was pure entertainment. I got my special noise cancelling headphones and I had a little projector, turned my whole living room into the closest thing to a cinema that I could. Action, amazing. Soundtracks were good. Pure entertainment. The fight with Kingpin at the end was brilliant. This was a superb, entertaining movie. A great Christmas. Comes in at number 4.
Wow. I have to watch this, but I'm if you found my fifth pick crazy, you're gonna be in some trouble because my number 4 is El Dia de la Bestia. It's a Spanish movie by Alex de la Iglesia, who you can call the Spanish version of Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, or Takashi Miike. And what he does is incredible. He has such a great talent to make awesome characters who make a strange, surreal feeling, and who also has this cult classic look to his movies. This is basically a movie that tells you the Antichrist is going to be born on Christmas Eve, and a few people are going out and try to kill the Antichrist before he gets born. And this is so surreal. It's superbly entertaining. It has this horror comedy mixture of where the comedy comes from how surreal and strange everything is, from the dialogue to the setup to the characters. Alex de la Iglesia is a brilliant master of making these sorts of movies, like his Crimen Perfecto, which is amazing. And this is one of my favorite films of his, and it's a Christmas movie, and so I like to watch that right now.
Cool. The third one. This is it. The Gladiator. It is a brilliant movie. Like, the theme song is amazing. The journey of Maximus is superb. It's like, in the end, justice is served. Rome is, and this ended up making me read about Marcus Aurelius's philosophy, self-restraining reasoning. It's so cool. This movie had a massive lasting impact. I see it every year, and I think I've seen it 8 times outside the Christmas season, and brilliant. Just a brilliant number 3.
What does this film have to do with Christmas?
It's a great Christmas movie. It's a great family movie.
A family movie where
Santa
heads getting chopped off and...
No, absolutely not. This is mental. What is your third one?
Okay, my third one is actually a little bit more Christmassy, and maybe we start with movies that you know right now. My number 3 pick this time, it's an awesome masterpiece. I love the directing style of Joey Dante. He's one of the most talented American directors. I love the fact how Joey Dante always balances his comedic elements and his horror elements. I love the way how Gizmo and all these gremlins look, how they work, how they interact. I love the puppetry. I love the way how they interact with their environment. I love the whole concept of don't get them wet, don't feed them after midnight. And I think this is one of the most entertaining movies that I have seen that are centered around Christmas. And by the way, for the people watching this from America, this is actually the movie who got the PG-13 rating established in America, because the things that Gremlin shows, usually before that we had the PG rating, which something like Poltergeist already, okay, this is PG. Interesting. And then the R rating, and there was nothing in between. And because of the fact what Gremlins shows, Steven Spielberg actually made the MPAA create a new rating, which is the PG-13 that we now know for this movie. And it's superbly entertaining. I love it.
All right. That is quite epic. All right, number two. This is it. This is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I was 11 years old, and when I watched Diagon Alley, it was so cool. The feast in Hogwarts is superb. It's like, wow. I think David Heyman did a brilliant job of visualizing the characters. This is so cool. Hagrid, the train scene, the frog, Platform 9 3/4, man. King's Cross Station in London. It's just so cool. It's a great movie. I absolutely love it. And that's why it's number 2.
Awesome. My number 2 is something I think you were expecting this movie to show up along the line at some point. Of course, it's the brilliant masterpiece, Die Hard. Bruce Willis is an awesome action actor. He does a brilliant job. The thing that I actually had the most trouble of selecting for this top 5 list is whether I wanted to put Die Hard or Die Hard 2 on this spot, because both of these movies are great Christmas presents for every family. They have great action, great one-liners, and they're just Alan Rickman. I think it was Alan Rickman as the censored villain in the first movie, because in the English original version, but in the German version, they changed his background so he's no longer a German terrorist, which I like. They even changed his name. And I think the performance of Alan Rickman in this movie is, even though I'd say the second part maybe have a little better action sequences, I mean, the ice scene is holy shit, but what Bruce Willis does in this movie, what Alan Rickman does, it's a thrilling, it's a compact, claustrophobic action thriller, one of the best that Hollywood has ever produced.
Fair enough. That is a timeless classic. It's a Christmas classic, but I didn't see a single Santa in it. So interesting. My favorite and the best Christmas movie ever, I will tell you now, The Intouchables, the French movie. And it is such a great movie, especially with the message that it's not trying to normalize disability. It's just that it's showing from a disabled person's point of view that they want to be treated normally without any sympathy. And the movie introduced me to Inodi. He is a great piano player. The first scene just captures you when the police stops him and the person is completely paralyzed from neck below, but he helps his driver get out of the police trying to arrest him, ends up getting a police escort to the hospital, and then they just go on. It's just brilliant. It is such a good movie. It has everything, comedy, drama, all emotions. This is a superb movie. You have to watch it.
Yes.
Great family movie. Brilliant.
Yeah, was my absolute favorite movie the year it came out. But for my number one, the best Christmas movie that has ever been made, and I know that Die Hard is kind of a Christmas movie because it's set around Christmas. You said that there are not enough Santas in it. There will be a Santa in my top one pick, and this is Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2. And this is the most important thing. It's Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2, not the enormous classic Silent Night, Deadly Night starring Linnea Quigley, which has a killer dressed as Santa go around chop people up, which actually has one of the most awesome cover artworks that I have ever seen by Rick Melton on the German Blu-ray. But this is the timeless classic. Deadly Night Part 2 is crap. Really. Half of this movie is recycled footage from the first movie, so they basically have all the movie being told in flashbacks, including footage from the first one, even scenes that the character explaining the scenes was never in. Also, Eric Freeman, the guy who plays the lead character in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, is one of the worst actors you have ever seen on stage. He is so campy, he is so over the top, he is so exaggerated, up to 1,000, and it's so much fun watching him butcher every single line that he has to utter. This is the most entertaining thing you can watch around Christmas.
Interesting. We'll let the audience decide, because definitely
yes!
I'm going to win this. Like, you had to put Die Hard in, which interesting. All right, people, that's it. That's our top 5. Let us know who's won and which is the best movie. Give it a try.
Exactly. Tell us in the comments, and definitely check back to our channel next Saturday when we will start with our main feature of Home Alone. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video with all other Christmas or whatever my picks were movie enthusiasts. Have a great day, and thanks again for watching.
Take care.
Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckles show, where we take a bite out of the movies, like literally. So, in this segment, we're going to discuss the beloved Home Alone franchise.
Oh yes.
And now we're gonna have our top 5 facts. So last time I went first, so Porky, you go first this time.
I go first. Okay, my Number 5 fact is about the awesome John Candy. One of my all-time favorite comedic actors sadly passed away a long time ago. He was basically a complete improvised role. He never had any dialogue written down, and he was only paid up to scale for his performance, which amounted to the incredible sum of $414 for what he did in the 23 hours of shooting that they did. The fact that actors improvise their lines is a trademark of writer and producer John Hughes, and what I found the most interesting is that all the dialogue John Candy has on screen is shared with Catherine O'Hara, who he also previously worked together in Second City, and they were close friends. And when John Candy passed away, on O'Hara's 40th birthday, she gave a eulogy for her friend, which is very sad, but John Candy is incredible, and he did an amazing job in Home Alone, I think.
He did. Phenomenal. Alright, so my fact.
Yes!
The film was written in less than 2 weeks. Actually, it took John Hughes 9 days to write the film. And he did this because he had a traveler's anxiety, and I think he was traveling in Europe on a plane, and he wrote the whole screenplay within 9 days. So that's it. And it became a massive, massive blockbuster.
Yes, or what I also like, I always like the theoretical facts, the filmmaking facts, and the ones that change your way of viewing the movie once you know about them. So if you are at the start of the movie, most of the shots that focus on Macaulay Culkin come from above, to make him look small and insecure. And the more the movie progresses, the more the camera scales up to his height and even shows him in a much bigger, much more confident state at the end of the movie.
That's quite a cool fact, actually. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, my next fact. You saw a lot of snowfall in Home Alone, a lot. So the lyric opera of Chicago benefited from this, and all of the snowfall. So snowfall was wax and plastic, and they ended up getting it and used it in many productions after this. So it did not go to waste.
Yeah, that's cool. And another cinematographical fact for the movie, if you ask yourself, how did they make this Christmassy atmosphere of the film, they actually used the colors red and green on everything. So if you take a close look at all the furniture, all the ingredients inside of the McAllister house and so on, they always carry the colors red and green.
Even his bathrobe at the end when he sees his mother. It's quite cool. So in fact, we're going down production here. So Warner Brothers shut the movie down because it went over budget. And smart.
Very smart, yes.
Fox took it up the next day, increased the budget, and there you have it. Home Alone. Yes, there we go. That's a massive, massive production bleep, but
slightly. But if you go over the list of movies that Warner Brothers have not produced, that they could have produced, this is even one of
another
lesser flubs. A very tiny fact, there is one scene that actually parents have discussed over the years. There is a scene where Kevin is looking through a Playboy magazine, which is, oh my god, a kid is looking at all this filth. No, they actually pasted, glued, and stapled the pages together so that real-life Macaulay Culkin could never see any nudity while shooting this.
Wow. And so Tom Curry's character. Tom Curry. Tom Curry's character is actually called Tim Curry. Tim Curry.
Yes.
His character.
Don't say it 3 times, or else he's gonna appear like Candyman.
He'll be here.
You have Pennywise coming in from. Okay.
So his character is actually got a name, never mentioned in the film. Mr. Hector. That's it. I think that is a cool fact.
Okay, I'll leave you with that. Speaking of names and name droppings, my last fact for this battle is very long, but I always love to reimagine movies based on different situations. So for the roles of Harry and Peter, there were so many other actors that were considered, that were approached, that turned down the role. And if you just listen to these names and imagine how the film could turn out if these people were to actually play for Harry, Joe Pesci's role in the film, it was turned down by Robert De Niro. Actually, it was named after Harry Lime from The Third Man by Orson Welles. But it was turned down by Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, by John Lovitz, by Rowan Atkinson, Alan Rickman, Michael Richards for everyone, for Jeremy Iron, Dudley Moore, Phil Collins, and of course it was also put in front of Danny DeVito, Bob Hoskins, Kevin Pollak, Michael Biehn, James Caan, Kevin Kline, Tommy Lee Jones, Ray Romano, John Stamos, Gene Hackman, and Kurt frickin' Russell.
You might as well have Tom Hanks as well. Like,
yes,
why not?
And for it's even weirder when you go into the role of Peter McAllister, because you would have the possibility to see Michael Douglas, Kevin Costner, Martin Sheen, John Travolta, Bill Murray, Jim Belushi, Chevy Chase, Harrison Ford. There you have your Tom Hanks, Sean Penn, Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, Rick Moranis, Jack Nicholson,
No.
John Goodman, Robin Williams, Alan Thicke, Bruce Willis, John Ritter. Also an interesting fact, Ed O'Neill, Jeff Daniels, and the one person that I would have loved to take up the role, Arnold fricking Schwarzenegger.
That would have been mental.
That would be mental.
Completely mental.
So,
right, my last fact. So, Marketing Genius this by the Plaza Hotel. They're not sponsoring us. They used their real number.
yeah.
And their bookings went through the roof because people wanted the experience. And similar to that, so I was lucky enough to spend Christmas Eve in New York in 2012. 11-12, and the Duncan toy store is based on FAO Schwarz. So, and this toy store is amazing. It has a walking piano. It is amazing. They changed location in 2018, but this store is epic. That's it. Those are my facts.
Yeah.
All right.
And those were our facts. Maybe just a little bonus fact, because you just mentioned the Plaza Hotel. They actually removed the carpet from the lobby so that Macaulay Culkin could slide in there. And Donald Trump, the owner of the Plaza Hotel, liked that so much that he never put the carpet back in. But he apparently bullied his way into the movie and into his cameo. Chris Columbus never wanted to have Donald Trump in the movie for reasons I can very much understand. And then in recent broadcasts of the film in Canada, they cut him out again. But that is our facts.
Those are our
you
facts.
can use the comment feature below to enter your favorite facts from the Home Alone franchise. Tell us your favorite bits of trivia. Tell us who won this fact battle. Who had... Definitely not. Who had the best facts? And most importantly, join us back next Saturday at 5 p.m. European time for our next dive into Home Alone.
Take care. And stay safe. Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckles show, where we take a bite out of the movies, like literally. So for this month, we've been looking at Home Alone, and what is Kevin's favourite thing? Cheese pizza. So we're gonna make our own triple cheese, triple tomato pizza. So here we have the dough. We've got water, flour, oil, sugar, salt, and yeast. Your classic ingredients for a dough. We're gonna put it all together, mush it up, and make a dough out of it. And then over here, what we have is the cheese pizza tomato toppings. Mozzarella, cheddar, and parmesan. So mozzarella is sliced, cheddar is grated, and you've got powdered parmesan. Tomato puree, dried tomatoes and fresh tomatoes. I laid it out like this because I want the tomato puree to go first, mozzarella to go on top, then dried tomatoes, then put grated cheddar cheese on it, then fresh tomatoes, and then sprinkle it with some parmesan. Right.
So, for the first step, we're gonna make the dough, which means the first step that we're going to take is we're going to take the water, mix it with the salt, the sugar, and the yeast. That made a great sound. Okay, now that this is basically done, all that we need to do is take the flour, put it inside of our bowl, add our liquid joy that we just made, and now for the important part, we're now going to start mixing. As soon as we have this set up a little, we are going to add the olive oil. And now, for the real preparation of the dough, we're going to be using our hands. I think we have a dough.
We have a dough. We have a dough.
I call him John.
Oh, nice.
You know, John Doe.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
And now, once you're done with the dough, we are going to cover it up and come back to it in about an hour and see how it turned out. Okay, it has been an hour and whoa, look at this. This is John, and now we're gonna start rolling us a fat John. So, I think we're all set with the dough.
God, take that out and
Yes.
just put it there. That is.
Let's
do
look
not
at
drop
this.
it. Do not drop it. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, look at this.
That is a lot of cheese.
Oh yes. And it's all
And it's crusty. Yes, we got the crust. Right. So we had the pizza.
Yes. It was awesome.
It was really good. Not saying it for the camera. This was like, yeah.
Delicious.
Now let's get on to the dessert.
Yes.
Vanilla ice cream, Twix, Bounty, M&M's, milk. Put them all together, blend them, and eat it.
I think this is enough milk.
Yep. We'll find out. Blend it now, blend it.
Yes, I will.
Blend it, man. Bombs
For
away.
dessert, bombs away. I see how it tastes.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh, I love how the peanuts from the M&Ms. Oh yes.
Mm.
Mmm. And the crunchy little Twix Pix. This is delicious. Alright, after we finish this, we'll meet again at the hospital. But thanks again for watching. This was our Kevin Home Alone dinner with pizza and whatever the hell this is. But we hope that you enjoyed it. It's really good. Seriously, you need to taste this. Thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us back again next Saturday evening when we dive into the best or worst Home Alone knockoffs.
Oh yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckle Show, where we take a bite out of movies. Like, literally. And oh boy, did we do that. But for today's segment, we're going to talk about the Home Alone knockoffs. And what better film to start off this discussion than the French film Deadly Games, aka 3615 Code Père Noël, which is so much of a rip-off of Home Alone that it was released 1 year prior. But actually, the producers of 3615 actually sued the producers of Home Alone for infringing their ideas.
Really?
Which I find massively entertaining, given that the first 30 seconds of this film feature a, let's call it, less than stellar reimagination of The Eye of the Tiger from
Oh my
Rocky
God.
IV.
This
This is what was I
going on in
watching?
that? I don't... Oh god. Oh
But
god.
let's start with you. What did you think of Deadly Games?
What? It's a very sinister movie.
Yes.
Kid lives in a castle. Some computer genius. And what is this situation? Rocky? Home Alone? Or Rambo? Like, what's going on here?
This is what, you know, the first thing that popped into my mind when I started watching the film was, am I watching a Dutch movie like The Flooders or The New Kids because of this mullet? This
haircut.
the haircut. This is, I mean, I am not someone to talk to when it comes to great haircuts, but this is
a different
yuck.
level.
This is the worst haircut that has ever been to film. Full stop. Okay, apart maybe from John Travolta's wig in later movies.
Fine.
But this is terrible. And the kid, actually, did you know the kid only starred in 3 things in his entire career? Apart from this film, he was in the film Le Passage alongside Alain Delon, who also wrote the film, and 1 episode of a TV series. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And I think he did a phenomenal job acting in this film.
Was really good.
I loved it, and what I loved
bad.
what I loved the most about this film is it is a French film. It has such a tremendously weird atmosphere when it comes to the music and
It's
the
very weird.
slow motion and the scenes when Santa Claus sometimes walks around the house. It is so. What am I watching now? Did Dario Argento make parts of this movie?
Santa kicked a dog and killed him.
Yes.
In a kid's
Why not
movie.
this dog in the first 5 minutes of the film? Seriously.
It was just like, come on, they live in a castle, got secret rooms. And the kid ends up, what, saving his grandfather by getting insulin, tries to gas the Santa.
Yeah, he tries to murder him.
And then it's like, so the gate is metal, but Santa somehow has the strength to push it open, and the handle breaks off. I'm just like, there's something wrong with that.
You know what this film reminds me of in very many instances, like a very early video game. like the pit boy he is holding on his wrist.
Yeah.
He is like Sam Fisher when he Splinter Cells his way around the castle. It's weird, to say the least, but I have to say, and I have to spoil this, out of all the movies that we watched for this entire month, this is my personal favorite. I loved this film to death because of the weird atmosphere, because of the weird characters, because of the terrible haircuts. This is a brilliant, unique film like you have never seen any other film before.
It's unique for sure.
If you have any chance, check this one out. This is... I have nothing to say. It's an 8-year-old John Rambo dressed up with the camouflage like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of Commando, going commando on
Completely
Santa
mental.
Claus. You know what? This kid is the young French equivalent of John Wick.
Really?
You killed my dog, now I'm going to kill you. This is
I don't
insane.
get one thing. When he was escaping from the Santa, he was outside. It's snowing, but he's sweating, and he just like, how is that working?
He has... Well,
How?
Have you ever been chased by Santa Claus? No, so you cannot say that, whether you would be sweating or not. But I actually, after this kid is barefoot in almost all of the film, I was getting Die Hard flashbacks at some point. And I was thinking, this was a tremendous effort by the actor, and I love him for that. Awesome film. And right now, because we don't have all that much time today, I would like to move on to another film that we watched, which is so much of a Home Alone knockoff that originally Macaulay Culkin was to star in this film, but then they decided, no, they do not want to typecast him this much, so they gave the part to a different kid, and this is Problem Child, which... also has very, very, very interesting people behind it. It was directed by Dennis Dugan, who you might know as the inspired director of classics such as Happy Gilmore, Big Daddy, and Beverly Hills Ninja, who ended his career, and I hope he ended his career, directing shit, and I have to use this word here, like Grown Ups, Just Go With It, and Jack and Jill, where Adam Sandler plays himself and his sister. The most insane waste of human resources.
But we're not talking about that, we're talking about Problem Child.
I know, but I hate this film so goddamn much!
Problem Child started as the story of Moses. What is going on? With the kid in a
Wait, what?
basket. The
Wait,
kid in a basket, and then somebody rescues him, and then
God, I
goes
love
around,
that.
goes around, goes around, goes around until he meets the nuns.
I love that.
What is going on?
part. It's like this kid, because he's so mean. Every time he comes to a different foster family, they like handle
Take
him
him
for
in a basket.
a second and put him away again. I love this. I love how mean-spirited and god-awfully bad this movie's characters are.
They were no good. It was,
And-
what was it? When Big Ben gave him $1, and he said, manage that. And the cheek of the kid, which is fair enough, he's like, how do you manage $1? It's $1. What do you do with
Try
it?
not to spend everything
Yeah.
at once. But the thing is, I love the cast of Problem Child. I love Gilbert Gottfried, who is an amazing voice,
Excellent.
an amazing actor. But the person I enjoyed seeing in this film the most was Michael Richards. He was, for me, the star of Seinfeld. He is a comedic genius.
His timing
And
is good.
he has the best timing. I love it. How he has this shaky moves, like French Stewart, who we are going to talk about as well in the Home Alone films. But he is a god, and he made, I have to spoil this. Out of all the films that we watched for this month, including the Home Alone movies, Michael Richards made me laugh the most. With the iconic scene at the end at the carnival. And
Oh,
they're
God.
they're chasing each other, they're running around, and somehow a clown pops up, folds a giraffe out of a balloon, holds it in his face, and says, "That's a giraffe!" And he's like, "That's a fist!" Poof! And I almost fell over crying.
That was terrible. This movie was terrible.
So great.
It wasn't as bad as Problem Child 2. I think that was a really, really poor movie. Problem Child 1 you could get away with. Problem Child 2, no chance. I mean, we established that the kid has anger issues. And then they introduced this love story situation going on.
Ugh.
And then the kid finds another girl that's equally problematic. And then the parents somehow fall in love. It's just like, come on.
No.
This is, I want chaos. I don't want a happy ending.
The thing is that the two writers, Alexander and Larry Karaszewski, they never liked the first movie. They called it disastrous, and because they had so little respect for their own work, studios were very reluctant to hire them for future projects. And even, according to Dennis Duggan, the test screenings were so disastrous that 70% of the audience walked out of the film, and so they had to reshoot big parts of the film. And for the second part, Gilbert Gottfried revealed in 2014, for that matter, that the second part initially received an R rating from the MPAA because it's so vulgar. I mean, remember the puking scene only surpassed by Team America World Police. And they only had to edit out one part. They had to ad-lib a part where Junior used the term pussy whipped. I think he was referring to a cat. I have no idea. But after editing this out, they got the PG-13. But let's put it like that. The second one was garbage.
Terrible.
I would have... No, there was one part of the second movie that I loved. It was when Gilbert Gottfried, who is a god, and who loves to improvise so much so that Dennis Duggan got flack from the producers of the first one because he shot so much footage. The first part when he met the kid again, and he was like... And he made the Kevin face in his Kevin knockoff, which is... God, this is funny.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to another movie I've selected because it's kind of serious. You know that there is a fan theory that Kevin from the Home Alone movies in later years turned out to be the Jigsaw killer of the Saw movies.
Okay.
Because he was so evil. And then, a few years later, he met the film The Good Son alongside a brilliant and very young Elijah Wood, where it is a mixture between Home Alone Kevin and John Kramer from Saw.
The quicker we move on from this movie, the better it is.
Okay, I kind of liked it.
Yes, sadly. No. Sorry?
I mean, it was rubbish. It was insane. The sheer amount of vileness that this character has. Even Zac Efron as Ted Bundy wasn't this shockingly evil and vile as
I didn't like that movie.
Macaulay Culkin in this film. I still think it's kind of an interesting thriller, especially since it was directed by Joseph Ruben, who we know from films such as Dreamscape, Sleeping with the Enemy with, I think, Julia Roberts in it, and The Stepfather with a brilliant Terry O'Quinn as a killer, a franchise we will be spotlighting sometimes along the line.
The last one. This is the one I'm looking forward to.
Really, so please, take it. It's yours. Yeah, that's all we have to say about this movie.
It is superb. Bone is superb. It is such a cool movie, right? Thieves straight away. You've got the dogs. No one believes the dogs. One of the dog loses the bite. They're in the shelter. My God, that shelter was slightly like... What's going on?
That shelter was like, here, it's a dog shelter. You know what?
But I liked one of his jokes. At the start, it was just like, oh, I'm really in the doghouse now. I was just like, ha, that's quite funny. That was quite funny. It was a terrible attempt at Santa. It was, the whole movie was like, the dog was basically Kevin.
Yeah. But
they got the wrong dog.
Yeah. Did you get the pun, bone alone, because it was so subtle?
Yes.
You know,
Jesus.
Bone alone. And you know what's the funniest part about this is, this dog here on the front cover of the Blu-ray of Bone Alone, this is not Bone! This is the other dog. There are two dogs in the movie. One is called Bone, and one is this dog.
I wasn't satisfied with the ending. I wasn't satisfied with the ending. Who?
Yeah.
First, who just walks around?
Why
dressed
weren't
like
you
that?
satisfied with the ending? Oh yeah, because the dogs
turned
didn't
out
end
to
up on
be-
kebabs.
They turned out to be Santa Claus grandparents, and you're just like, right, this is too. Nah,
You
not
know-
for me. It was not a good ending.
You know what I like to do? Before I watch a movie, I never watch trailers. I
No,
never
no.
read
Me neither.
the content on the
I
back
watch
of the
it.
box. So I had no clue what I was walking into. And then, after 1 minute of film,
No,
the
this
dog
movie was
started
epic.
talking! The dog started talking! Even with
Obviously, the dog will
poorly-
talk if the dog is on the
with
title.
poorly CGI'd human
Okay.
mouths moving.
The computer graphic effects were not very good. They were poor.
It's
they
the
were
asylum.
really, really bad.
Yeah, for some parts of the movie, I had the feeling that it just filmed dogs, filmed random shots, and then ad-libbed over this. So we have a movie
I
now.
didn't quite get why this kid had a phone and he's constantly on the phone, and his biggest problem was, oh, my battery died. I'm just like, what are you talking about? You're maybe 8, 9 years old? Why do you have a phone?
You know what I didn't get? Why was Kevin Sorbo in this film? He is a respectable actor. He was Hercules. He was an Andromeda. He is actually, and I met Kevin Sorbo in person, and his wife, and his kids. They are a tremendously nice family. He's an incredible person to talk to. On my channel, you can even find the panel discussions that I did with him. But funny thing, I promised you, there
Right,
is
one last fact, and then-
one bit of trivia that I found out just today after watching the film. Bone Alone was directed by Joseph J. Lawson.
Okay.
Yes, the director, and you will not get this, of Lord of the Elves.
Right, that's it. I think that's our cue. That's our cue.
In the
We're
first
done.
2 months of this show, we had 2 asylum productions, both by the same director. Both were
We're done.
utterly garbage. So
We're done.
please, if you have spare time, watch Deadly Games, Problem Child, and The Good Son. Don't watch this with the wrong dog.
Right. See you next week, guys.
you next
Subscribe,
week.
like,
Like,
leave a
subscribe.
comment.
Yeah,
Let us
of
know which
course.
one is the worst one.
You.
Done.
Hello and welcome to the Pork and Knuckles Show, where we take a bite out of movies, like literally. And today is a special day for us.
Very
I mean,
special.
for me as a collector, it's an especially bad day
very
because
special.
the only franchise where I do not own any special edition, but at least the movies are special.
The movies are amazing.
They have a place in our hearts, and why don't you want to start with
Home Alone.
yes?
Home Alone. Timeless Christmas classic. Right. I love the movie. The movie was comedy gold before he starts setting the battle plan. It was amazing. Everything was... I don't think you could try and recreate a movie like that. Really, I don't think so. And I would go out to say some of the dialogue there was superb. I mean, superb scene.
Which was not in the script.
Yeah, it wasn't. So superb
Macaulay
scene.
Culkin was supposed to take his hands away from his face before he started screaming, but he just
It was amazing.
flubbed it and they left it in.
I love the shopping scene, and this has happened to me. I'm carrying my bags, and they're ripped up, and I'm like, oh god, brilliant. And the cheek of Kevin is superb. It is so cool. It really is a family movie, and I think everyone can watch it. It's a great movie.
I don't like it.
Right then.
Not really. No, the problem is I don't like Christmas. I don't like family movies. And this is, for me, this is the over-encompassation of a cheesy family Christmas movie, which is why I don't like it.
It's not cheesy.
I don't like...
What are you talking about?
I don't like the way that the ultra happy end has to happen. The end that we see in the movie is even happier than intended in the scripts, because apparently it wasn't cheesy enough after the first draft.
Yeah, but it wasn't a happy end, because he did not eat his macaroni and cheese dinner.
Those are problems
by
today.
9 o'clock.
Yeah. No, but the problem is I like the comedy.
It was superb. It was brilliant comic value.
I like the fact how they made sure to leave no plot holes, because, okay, you say this is a family and they forget one of their kids? Are they mental? But they included this in such an amazing way, even with cleaning up the spill in the kitchen in one of the first scenes, and then the camera just pans over to the waste paper basket, and you can see that they used Kevin's plane ticket to wipe this because it was caught up in some rug. So I have to say, I really love the comedy, but for me the main reason why I like Home Alone, of course I like it, is Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, because they are fabulous actors. I also like Macaulay Culkin's performance in the film, but still, if I go for a comedy, of course I have to say my favorite comedy of all time is South Park and something like that. I have a much more vulgar taste in comedy.
That's not taste.
But of course, because it was a groundbreaking, massive success, all the other movies built upon it. So when I went back to watching Home Alone, it ended up looking a bit tame.
Yeah, but you see, this leads us to Home Alone 2. And I think Home Alone 2 is better than Home Alone 1.
I agree.
I really, really like Home Alone 2.
Yes.
Such a good movie.
Even though, and this is something else, I like my comedies, like Leslie Nielsen, Jim Carrey comedies, to be short and fastly paced. But Home Alone 1 is over 100 minutes. Home Alone 2 is 2 hours long, which is like an encyclopedia for
But they nailed
comedy. But they nailed it. They nailed the pacing. I think they nailed the pacing
superb.
better in the second one than in the first one.
I think so.
Because before the whole break-in part started, for me, Home Alone 1 dragged a bit.
It did. At the start, it was a bit long. Home Alone 2 just got into it, and you know what you were expecting, and you got delivered. It was a superb, superb movie. Brilliant sequel.
What I love is, do you know that Macaulay Culkin's stunt double was a 30-year-old?
Yeah, that was...
That is awesome. I mean, he drew the battle plan himself, which I love, which is an info I love, but...
What was it called? Operation Ho Ho Ho, or something like this. Yes,
definitely.
Operation Ho Ho Ho. I remember it, I was just like, that is cool. What was in the third one? But it's cool. Okay. That leads us on.
Yeah, that leads us on because, of course, Home Alone 2, so not to get me wrong. What I also like is that some doctors and scientists have researched the traps that Kevin lays out for the wet bandits, and said that he has caused near fatal, if not fatal, injuries at multiple occasions, because at least the bricks he throws.
Oh my God.
This is one of my favorite scenes when Kevin is talking to Joe Pesci, and Pesci is always stepping out of the way for Daniel Stern to hit again in the head, and one of these bricks is nearly fatal. I remember this one surveillance footage that is going around the Facebooks and all, where two idiots try to break into a store, and they approach the store, and one guy throws a brick but doesn't know that there is bulletproof glass, so the brick ricochets off and hits the other guy in the head, and he just falls off and doesn't move.
Yeah, you get knocked out.
Which is what happens in these instances.
But after you get 4 bricks thrown at you, I think you'd be concussed. Like, you'd be out.
You would be done. But this is what I love is these pratfalls. Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci both, by the way, did not believe in the success of Home Alone when they filmed it. They have such awesome chemistry when they fall down backwards together at the same time. This is so funny, even after the 700th time you see it.
It's the same. For me, they're both so good each time you see it. But I tell you what, Home Alone 3 is actually a good movie.
Yes.
The downfall of it was that it was followed by 2 extremely brilliant movies. So there was always going to be a comparison.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing now. But Home Alone 3 is a really, really good movie. Little bit weird at the start. You've got this James Bond sci-fi kind of 4 guys in a gang.
Yeah, it was like, okay,
Like,
what
why
am
are
I
you doing this?
watching?
We don't need this.
Am I watching
Like,
a Korean
why is this
espionage
needed?
film?
Like my wife, when she saw it, she's like, "What movie are we watching? Some kind of James Bond?" I said, "No, this is Home Alone 3.
Yeah.
It's not James Bond."
I think they were going to take the Halloween route of sequels, where after Halloween 2, they decided, okay, that's it for Michael Myers, we're gonna make this an anthology series, and just release the movies every year on Halloween, but with different characters, different killers, different stories. I like that idea, basically.
Yeah, but the first 2 you had the same characters, and they set the scene for the whole of
I
Home
think
Alone.
the only problem of this film is its name.
Yes.
This is why the comparisons are there. I mean, John Hughes returns as writer. He wrote Home Alone 3. Some people say it's the worst thing that he has ever written. Which
It's not. That's unfair.
It's not fair, because I like...
Home Alone 3 was very good.
I like what Alex D. Linz, the successor of Macaulay Culkin, did. I like his acting in the film.
It was excellent acting.
He was
I'm
good.
not gonna lie, it was
And-
superb acting.
Also, I think that the eloquency of the traps
Yes.
is very
It's
good.
smart.
It's very
thought out,
smart,
well thought
but
out.
still not exaggerated in a way of Deadly Games from France. It's much more deadly, much
For
more
sure.
painful, and this is what I like. I'm sorry I have to say this, but I like pain in my comedies.
But his best line was when he was getting told off by the mum and the chief of police, and he just said, "Excuse me for being a good citizen." I'm like, that nailed it. That was a brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant line. Alright, now that
Yeah.
leads us on. Home Alone 4. Oh, God.
Yeah, let's go back.
It was terrible.
No, let's go to Home Alone 5. No, let's go back to Home Alone 4!
Home Alone 4 was terrible. I
What?
mean, why? Why would you ruin
Yeah.
something like this? It was
But the thing is, not...
overacting. This
We
is something,
can-
it was overacting.
We can ask a fellow critic of ours named Daniel Stern, who was approached to star in Home
Oh,
Alone
yeah?
4, and he called it an insult and total garbage, which I think
Completely
nails
rubbish.
our...
I mean,
which
they
nails...
didn't even try it. You could see when the 2 robbers came in dressed as waitresses or waiter. I mean, the guy had a beanie hat, loose clothes. This wasn't funny. It was just tacky. This was a rubbish movie.
And you know what's the worst part about all this is? Beneath this beanie, beneath these 2 big baggy clothes, was French freaking Stewart. One of
Yeah.
the greatest, most talented comedic actors I have ever seen. If you have ever seen a single episode of Third
think he
Rock
likes
from
it.
the Sun, this
Oh,
is
yes.
my all-time favorite sitcom, and it is French Stewart. It is John
Someone else told me
Lithgow,
to watch
and
that
it
as
is
well.
a very, very
I mean,
young...
Only Fools and Horses is the best.
And it's a
sitcom.
very, very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing a family. And French Stewart is so awesome and so funny and so versatile. Just like Jim Carrey, just like
Johnny
Michael
Depp.
Richards.
You've got Tom Hanks. These guys are very
and
versatile actors. Leonardo. DiCaprio,
Something
he's a versatile
something else
actor.
that I didn't understand. The girl that he tries to do the break-in with
Yeah,
is made to look exactly like Kristen Stewart, Kristen Johnson from the Third Rock from the Sun. So basically he's doing the break-in with his sister, which actually is his sister in this film. So why this connection? This feels
yeah. Let's move on.
arbitrary, to say the least.
Let's
but,
move on. This is rubbish.
but let's say it's the director of this is the same guy who brought us
Other director.
Yeah, but the one who brought us Teen Wolf and K9 with John Belushi, a film that I loved as a kid. And actually, this movie was basically, the first plan was the pilot of a new TV series to make a Home Alone TV show. But since the movie bombed so bad, that idea was scrapped.
Yeah, but
And-
instead then they said, oh, let's make Home Alone 5. Home Alone 5, I think.
Yeah.
It's worse than the parodies that we did. That could in itself be a parody.
It's worse than Home Alone 4!
It's... Home Alone 5 is a disgrace. Why did they do it? Terrible music, terrible acting. Like, it wasn't even synced properly. Yeah. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
What is the point?
Speaking of the syncing, I have to go back to Home Alone 4 for a quick instance, because they have this awful smart home. And I'm still indifferent to the idea of smart homes, but walking around my house with a microphone saying, fire on, fire off, door open, door closed, especially if the door opens before you are done uttering the phrase, doors open. The door opens after the O. This is such terrible editing. And with Home Alone 5, speaking of the directors, by the way, Home Alone 5 was made by Peter Hewitt, who made Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
And you made that.
And Thunderpants.
Thunderpants was amazing.
Yeah, and it's the same director.
Thunderpants. But anyway, Home Alone 5. So the secret room, what I found odd was there's cobwebs and dust all around the bottles, but the tables and chairs are neat and clean. The floor is clean. It's just like, if this is the first time they've found it, surely there would be consistency in the dust. No consistency.
No.
I mean, I have a lot of problems with that film. It's not consistent, and
it was terrible.
Why is the neighbour's kid helping him? That's never happened in Home Alone. The old neighbour helps, but not the neighbour's kid.
But at least they didn't name him Kevin, like in the fourth film.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because we now are back with Kevin. But I just stumbled across something that I wanted to include about Home Alone 3. Because apart from the fact that it is Scarlett Johansson's first major role, actually John Hughes, who wrote the script, wanted Chris Columbus, the director of Home Alones 1 and 2, to direct this again. But he said he wanted to give this to a younger director as his directorial debut. So they selected Raja Gosnell, who was the editor of Home Alones 1 and 2, so he knew his way around. And Gosnell also edited Mrs. Doubtfire and Miracle on 31st Street, but then he went on directing bombs such as Big Mama's House, Scooby-Doo, Beverly Hills Chihuahua, and the god-awful Smurfs movies.
Right, we've done the 5.
So his name is soiled. Our day is soiled after having to sit through this crap.
It was. The 5th was bad.
Can we please, to end this on a more cheerful note, for just a few seconds, go back to Home Alones 1 and 2. They were good.
They were great.
Even though I said...
The stunts were brilliant. They got better and better. Like, the traps in 2 were better than the traps in 1. And I thought that was really cool.
I love the way...
Really cool.
What I love the most about the traps is this fake movie that Macaulay Culkin is watching all the time, which is not a clip from a real movie,
but it's
footage.
Always on... Well, this is the thing I found in Home Alone 1. Angels with Filthy Soul.
Yeah.
Why is the movie always on? During the day? During the night? When they're coming in to scout? Why is it always on in that scene? And he just turns around, picks the remote, plays it, and they run away.
Have you watched TV in the last 15 years? Okay, at the moment it would be Big Bang Theory and
but at the same
Two and a Half Men
all the time. So it's just like, okay, fine. We'll end it there. Yeah. That was it.
I have one more piece of fact.
That's one more.
That always has one more. There is always one more. I'm like Factoid Columbo. On the airplane, you can see John Hurt reading a novel by Thomas McGuane.
Okay.
Which is interesting because both John Hurt and Thomas McGuane were previously married to the same woman, Margaret Kidder. So they put a book in his hand written by exactly the dude who has been banging his wife. This was not interesting. This is Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Have a good Christmas, guys. And if you've had a good Christmas, have a good New Year.
Hopefully it's January, by the way. It is already...
Hopefully it's better than 2020. And yeah.
This is it.
Subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Thank you very much.
And we'll see you guys again next week with our next feature.
Take care.